Celine is the real deal, baby. What's going on, y'all, and welcome on in. I was debating not putting in that highlight reel at the start of the video because I'm going to be titling this video my honest thoughts on ML Celine, meaning my overall goal by the time you finish watching this is to help you decide. You know, I'll let you know what I think of her, kind of where she lies. I was able to test her at higher ranks. I was able to use her a lot throughout this week. And I've kind of firmly decided where and how I want to guide y'all on whether or not you should use your hard-earned mystics on her. That being said, I decided to leave in that those highlight clips because she was very fun, and this week of testing and using her has been some of the best moments for PvP for me in a long while. And so I think that is one of her major selling points, the fun factor. That being said, if you didn't watch our tier list video that I made with Valkyria, I think she firmly lies in the top of middle tier, meaning she's not as strong as insanely powerful mystic units like Apocalypse Ravi or Bellion to a lesser extent, and those two units I think a lot of different players can run even on worse gear. I'll break down the nitty-gritty, guys, on what makes ML Celine both good and bad, but just understand she's not a super power unit, but she's no slouch either. She's definitely not weak as like Mediator Coeric when he first came out. She's comfortably in the top of middle tier in my opinion, and I don't think she'll move around too much overall. So that being said, stick around, guys. I'm going to try some new editing style too. Hopefully I got a lot of our matches just showing in the background while I talk with y'all, and then I'll glance back at the stats and specific things I need to show y'all on this end, okay? Alrighty, y'all. Let's go in and talk about what makes Spirit Eye Celine so fun, so strong, in my opinion, and why I think you may want to summon or spend those hard-earned mystics for, okay? And then shortly after, we'll go over the weaknesses and why you may want to save. Now, the reason I decided to pity and go all in for the Spirit Eye Celine is the fact that she is a fun unit because she has that 1v4 potential. She is a late game match closer. She can do it all on her own, or she can also just have one of the most tide turning skill 3s in the game because of the Spirit Gate burning possession. So not only will it put her into the possession mode, think of like Rem in demon mode, guys. She's an absolute monster when she's in this mode. She also get immortality, the access to the counterattacks, and the defense pen, plus self-cleansing nimble blades. She can also bring back your entire team as long as they weren't extinct, right? As long as they weren't killed by an extinction unit, which, if you combine that with the fact that she's so hard to kill through Sixth Sense if we have any type of mitigation, or in late game if they have to dedicate at least 2 hits if she's alone, and the fact that if she's in possession she'll counter and steal back all the health or just kill out the opposing units, she'll cycle back to the Spirit Gate anytime a unit dies. And it feels really well, and it works pretty seamlessly. I know a lot of players thought she might be too clunky, but in many games, guys, unless she just dies early, which we'll talk about as one of her main weaknesses, she's pretty self-reliant in that regard. The self-cleanse on the skill 3 and then the cleanse on the skill 1 means it's really hard to stop her from doing what she wants to do, which is just straight up skill 1, cut through bruisers and tanks like a hot knife through butter. The defense pen plus the pen set, if we were to build that, which I think is almost mandatory, means we're one-shotting Apocalypse Ravis on bruiser sets, and we are potentially 1/2-shotting, if you count Dust Devil, even the tankiest of Knights and Sawyers. I'm not joking, guys. The damage is absolutely insane. Hopefully some of it is showing if I have some B-roll, some background footage. So overall, the fun factor, the strength of her carry potential, I think that's the best way to put it. She's like a carry. She's kind of what we want martial artists Ken to be. A scary counter unit, but on top of that, she doesn't have as many weaknesses because she can self-cleanse, and she just fits that kind of counter insane lifesteal rule, much better than martial artist Ken does, while also having some insane team utility in the form of team-wide resurrection plus immortality. So all of that together, guys, makes Spirit Eye Celine so fun to run, comfortably at the top of middle tier. In the vast scheme of things, middle tier means she's very good, third or fourth pick monster, just not an early game pick, and for various reasons. Let's go ahead and talk about her weaknesses and why she's not a first pick or top tier potential unit. So one of Spirit Eye Celine's, let's talk about the weaknesses and why you may want to hold off on the Mystics, guys. And unfortunately, the way I think a lot of my viewers, you guys watching right now, I think this may fit for a lot of y'all, okay? So I'm going to cover, I think, 3 overall major weaknesses. Let's go ahead and start from the top to the bottom. The first main weakness is she just has a lot of counter units, okay? Units like Bellion, and you're going to see in a lot of my footage, I try to run her with Bellion. One, because I think I have a really good Bellion and I like running her, but I also wanted to take away one of her hardest counters. And I think it's a viable strategy in some scenarios, but if you guys don't have Bellion, don't like running her, you're going to have to be aware of her. If she gets picked, your Spirit Eye Celine is most likely just going to flop over. She not only does she multi-hit, she runs a lot of debuffs. She's just going to stop Spirit Eye Celine also from getting those souls for extra turns. It's just almost a hard counter, and Spirit Eye Celine will really just not perform well against her. Units like Carrot, units like what is it, AOL, sorry, the name is eluding me, Angel of Light Angelica. So basically, before we get to AOL, units like Carrot, units with multi-hit attacks, so any dual attacks, units like Senya on her artifact will really just shred through Spirit Eye Celine's skill 2 passive, which is kind of her only mitigation. Angel of Light Angelica will stop her from getting that skill 3 off, in which case you can just destroy her. And anything like Rengar's Drinks, like I mentioned, Senya's artifact, the Senya proccing twice, just the mass amount of damage, or getting if Spirit Eye Celine attacks into the skill 2 passive, you know, we're just doing a lot of multi-hit, a lot of just basically you kind of paper cut Celine to death, and if the mitigation and the sustain are gone, we can kind of take care of her easily. So she has a lot of very hard counters, guys. Those are just the ones that come off the top of my head. I think units like Seaside Bologna on Rengar's Drink are also a threat, but those can kind of be taken care of if Spirit Eye Celine just gets a hit off on the SSB. But to a lesser extent, any multi-hits, dual attacks, big meta units like Bellion, Carrot, they can all sort of deal with Spirit Eye Celine pretty easily. And then, of course, units like Landy and Spectre Tenebria, they kind of counter a lot of what you would call it, single target units anyways. So the fact that Spirit Eye Celine has no reach, we got to be aware of that as well. So there's a lot of units that she can't really handle, and a lot of units that just kind of destroy her game plan. Now, that is the first weakness, would be enemy heroes, a lot of hard counters. The second weakness, guys, is her over-reliance on Molagora and gear. Let's look at Molagora real fast, and then I'm going to go ahead and talk about the skill priority 2, just as a quick guide. But she really wants plus 15 Molagora, guys, so that she feels like she's doing her full job. The reason being is all the skills I mentioned kind of work together, and if we don't have the skill 2, we die too early. If we don't have the skill 3, we're not cycling back into those big Spirit Gate burning possessions with the help of the 6th Sense minus skill cooldown whenever someone dies. And then the skill 1, this is just her entire kit, right? Off the counters, off the dual attacks, off the Dust Devils. We need this to hit as hard as possible, so we need plus 7 Mola here. And on top of that, guys, we need to build like a glass cannon, in my opinion, and we also need to have penetration set. So that brings us to the third weakness of Spirit Eye Celine, and this is why, unfortunately, guys, I think a lot of y'all watching may want to hold off for now, is because if you don't have a lot of the units to support her, if you haven't had a lot of experience fighting or drafting in a way where we can protect her and make sure she does her job, and then last but not least, if we don't have the gear to support her, and especially penetration set, she's just going to feel very underwhelming. I drew a lot of comparisons to the likes of Apocalypse Ravi, Fallen Cecilia, Made Chloe, Bellion. Bellion maybe not so much because everyone needs injury set now, but if we look at a unit like Apocalypse Ravi, who has built-in 30% crit chance, built-in self-healing, built-in CR push, even on budget gear. I know I have penetration set here, but even Apox Ravi's not on penetration set, they still will feel like you're getting at least some value. They're doing their job somewhat, even on lesser gear. A unit like Fallen Cecilia 2, all we care about is having a decent amount of health Hey, we don't even need immunity yet. As long as she has some health speed, she's providing berries, she's provoking, she's doing the skill 3 nullifiers, it's fine. The Spirit Eye Celine, though, until we have that penetration set, until we have either lifesteal or insane speed set, which I'm going to talk about the builds here in just a moment, Spirit Eye Celine is going to feel very underwhelming, guys, and you're going to just feel like she's dying too early, or if we try to make her survive too much and give her too much support, she's not providing enough damage if we're not having enough DPS gear. So I'll go and show my stats here in a second, and let's go ahead and talk about the build. I opted for a lifesteal build, boys, and I think this is the most fun for me. Maybe not the most efficient, and I'll tell you how you can improve it. But if we were to go lifesteal, I would recommend a build like this. The defense and health are kind of just bonuses because this gear was stolen from Tempest Cern and Lifesteal Bruiser Spectre Tenebria. If I were to change it, I can drop things like this defense percent here for more speed. I could drop this defense percent here for more flat attack. I really suggest getting as much speed and attack, just glass cannon offensive stats, guys. All the mitigation, all the survivability is going to come from the skill 2, and then Aureus or barriers, things like that from like Fallen Cecilia. All right, think of like Tempest Cern. If you didn't play with Tempest Cern though, guys, just trust me, it's not really worth building too much health and defense. If you had to get one stat, defense is fine. The health though is actually kind of a hindrance, so try not to stack too much health, especially if you're going for a lifesteal build. Now, I think the other viable build is also glass cannon, but we go speed set and we push 240, 250, 260 speed and try to maintain the same amount of attack, crit chance, crit damage, and of course, way higher speed, right? And the benefit of this in exchange for lifesteal is lifesteal has, I think, a better 1v4 carry potential, so a little bit more hype in exchange, like the comeback mechanics. However, the the speed set is going to allow you to reach skill 3 much faster the first turn, so we'll have that turn 1 immortality, and she'll probably survive much better. And on top of that, we'll cycle back to the skill 3 a lot sooner as well. So I think that build could possibly even be better. I've had a few viewers tell me it's really good, but I don't have the gear to run it just yet. It's hard to get that much speed while also maintaining a penetration set. So overall, guys, we really need the pen set. The gear requirement, I would say, is whale level almost. However, a few tidbits, a few pro tips. We're going to have a crafting event coming up, so make sure you craft. If you need these pen sets, remember, Spirit Eye Celine, Violet, APOC Ravi, Little Queen Charlotte, just to name a few. Pen set is the future. You really want to start working on it. So crafting event, Katie's 13, guys. Katie's 11, 12, 13. Hopefully you pulled Rwana as per my last video suggestion. And then, yeah, just start working on those pen sets, boys. So crafting set, Katie's 13. And then last but not least, arena gear can sometimes have some, if you roll well, some of the arena gear can be okay for pen set. So in closing, insanely fun 1v4 carry, team utility, tide turning monster. But to get that to work, guys, we not only do we need plus 15 Molagor, which is like 30 plus molas, we need some insane gear, including the hard to get penetration set for my new to mid game players. And last but not least, she just has a lot of hard counters that we need to watch out for. And a unit like Apocalypse Ravi, like Fallen Cecilia, like May Chloe, if you were to spend mystics on them, they would probably perform much better overall and much easier to just gear out and start with. So be careful dedicating yourself to her, guys. That's my word of warning. Be careful of all the negatives I mentioned, but if you do decide to invest in her and you can get her to some, you don't need exact stats like mine, guys, but you do need enough stats. Otherwise, I promise, I already had a lot of viewers feel very underwhelmed because they don't have the gear to support her, the mola to support her, or the know-how to draft her correctly, all right? But if you think you can dedicate yourself to it, I will almost guarantee you're going to have an insanely fun time. She has just one of the most pop-off, fun potential. Like, you're just going insane with how fun the Dust Devils, the 1v4, the life stealing, the nimble blades, the counters. She's just an incredible unit, guys. Just very hard to run, and probably a lot more balance than some of these super OP crazy monster units we've had in the past, like APOC Ravi. All right, I think I've talked enough, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out.